In the long and powerful history of ancient Egypt, few rulers dared to challenge tradition. Pharaohs were expected to protect balance, honor the gods, and maintain order across the kingdom. But one man chose a completely different path, a path so radical that it shocked his people, weakened his empire, and nearly erased his name from history. That man was Akhenaten. Before becoming one of the most controversial figures in Egyptian history, he was known as Amenhotep IV, the son of the mighty pharaoh Amenhotep III and Queen Tiye. At the beginning of his reign, everything seemed normal. He followed established customs, respected the traditional gods, and ruled as expected. But within a few years, something changed, and that change would shake Egypt to its core: the birth of a religious revolution. Around the 5th year of his rule, Amenhotep IV made a decision no Egyptian ruler had ever dared to make before. He abandoned the entire religious system of Egypt, one that had existed for thousands of years, and replaced it with something completely new. Instead of worshipping many gods, he declared that there was only one true deity, Aten, the sun disk. To mark this transformation, he even changed his name to Akhenaten, meaning effective for Aten. This was not a small reform. It was a complete religious revolution. For centuries, Egyptian life had revolved around a complex system of gods: Amun, Osiris, Isis, Horus, each representing different forces of life, death, and balance. Among them, Amun was the most powerful, and his priesthood had grown incredibly wealthy and influential, rivaling even the pharaoh himself. Akhenaten saw this as a threat. But instead of sharing power or reforming the system, he chose to eliminate it entirely, destroying the old gods. Akhenaten didn't just promote Aten, he enforced his belief with intensity. Temples dedicated to other gods were closed. Their statues were destroyed. Their names were erased from monuments as if they had never existed. The powerful priests of Amun lost their status overnight. This wasn't peaceful change, it was forceful, disruptive, and deeply unsettling for the people of Egypt. For ordinary Egyptians, religion wasn't just belief, it was part of daily life. Their gods represented protection, justice, and cosmic balance. Suddenly, all of that was taken away. And in its place, Akhenaten introduced a system where only one god existed, and only one person could truly connect with him: the pharaoh himself. A god and his chosen messenger. Akhenaten's version of religion placed himself at the center. He claimed that Aten did not communicate with the general population, priests, or even other leaders. Instead, the divine connection existed only through him and his family. This made Akhenaten more than just a king. It made him the exclusive bridge between humanity and the divine. It was a bold move, but also a dangerous one. By removing access to religion from the people and centralizing it within himself, he didn't just change belief, he changed power. The city of Akhenaten. To fully establish his new vision, Akhenaten did something extraordinary. He abandoned Egypt's traditional centers of power and built an entirely new capital city from scratch. He named it Akhenaten, the horizon of Aten. Today, we know it as Amarna. This wasn't just a political move, it was symbolic. The city was carefully designed to reflect his devotion to the sun god. Temples were open to sunlight, buildings were aligned with solar patterns, and the entire layout celebrated Aten's presence. Akhenaten, along with his famous wife Nefertiti and their children, lived there in what can only be described as a carefully constructed religious world, isolated from the old Egypt. A kingdom left unattended. While Akhenaten focused intensely on religion and architecture, something critical began to slip away: his responsibility as a ruler. Egypt was not just a cultural power, it was a dominant political force with allies, territories, and enemies across the region. Maintaining those relationships required constant attention, but Akhenaten largely ignored them. Evidence from the Amarna letters, a collection of diplomatic correspondence, reveals a troubling pattern. Allied rulers repeatedly sent desperate messages asking for military assistance against invading forces and rising threats. One of them, Ribhada, ruler of Byblos, wrote dozens of letters pleading for help. He never received it. Another ally, the king of Mitanni, expressed disappointment in the declining quality of diplomatic gifts, once solid gold, now merely gold-plated items. Egypt's influence was weakening, and its enemies noticed. Power when convenient. To be fair, Akhenaten wasn't completely disconnected from politics, but his involvement was inconsistent. In certain situations, when strategic regions were threatened, he did act. One example involved a leader named Abdi Ashirta, who was expanding his influence in territories loyal to Egypt. When his actions began to affect areas of importance, Akhenaten ordered his arrest. However, when larger geopolitical threats, like the advancing Hittites, came into play, Akhenaten released him, likely choosing the safer political option. This reveals something important. Akhenaten wasn't incapable of leadership. He simply prioritized his religious vision above everything else. Art like never before. One of the most fascinating aspects of Akhenaten's reign is the dramatic change in Egyptian art. Before his rule, pharaohs were depicted as perfect figures, strong, symmetrical, and idealized. But during the Amarna period, everything changed. Akhenaten and his family were portrayed in a highly unusual way: elongated skulls, narrow limbs, wide hips, and almost exaggerated features. For years, historians debated whether this reflected a medical condition. Some suggested genetic disorders like Marfan syndrome. However, most scholars now believe the style was symbolic. The art was meant to reflect divine transformation, the idea that Akhenaten and his family were uniquely shaped by Aten's power. Even more striking was the emotional realism. Instead of formal scenes of war and rituals, artwork showed intimate family moments, Akhenaten playing with his daughters, sitting with Nefertiti, living a human life. It was deeply personal, and completely unlike anything Egypt had seen before. The fall of a radical vision. Akhenaten's revolution was bold, but it was also fragile. After his death, everything began to collapse. His successors quickly abandoned Aten worship and restored the traditional gods. His son, originally named Tutankhaten, changed his name to Tutankhamun, honoring Amun once again. The capital city of Akhenaten was abandoned. Temples were destroyed. His name was removed from records. Later rulers treated him as if he had never existed. For centuries, Akhenaten was lost to history, erased by the very civilization he once ruled. Rediscovery and legacy. It wasn't until the 19th century that archaeologists uncovered the ruins of Amarna and rediscovered Akhenaten's story. Today, he is seen as one of the most unique rulers in ancient history. Some scholars even suggest that his idea of one supreme god may have influenced later monotheistic religions, including early concepts found in Judaism. While this theory remains debated, it highlights just how far ahead of his time his thinking may have been. Visionary or failure? So how should we remember Akhenaten? Was he a visionary? Someone who introduced a revolutionary idea of a single, universal god? Or was he a failed ruler, so focused on his beliefs that he neglected his people, weakened his empire, and caused instability? The answer may lie somewhere in between. Akhenaten didn't just challenge religion, he challenged the very structure of Egyptian society. And while his vision didn't survive, its impact still echoes through history. Akhenaten didn't just change Egypt, he challenged everything, and history never forgot him. If you enjoyed this, like and subscribe for more powerful stories.